How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon, Talmud. Oh, man. Deep breath. Today we're setting Daf Lamed Gimel, Daf 33 of Masechta BavaKama. Friends, friends. Let me tell you, Epis, I'm not feeling good. I got sick just a few hours ago. I got sick. A few hours ago. So I don't know. I assume that most people probably do this. When you get sick, you go back and you try to think, what was it that made you sick? There's two things. I think in my mind, there's two things that made me sick. It just mamish happened in the afternoon. It's right now, 5:45 in the afternoon. I think I got sick at about 2 in the afternoon. And one is I've been eating too much pecan pie. Nobody else is eating it. And sure enough, I got sick. But I don't know if I would have gotten sick on that alone. There was an incident that happened today. That I think made me sick. I think that's what it was. I found it to be very stressful. It involved a co-working app and a global polarization. And I didn't get involved. I wasn't personally affected directly, but I noticed that somebody was expressing sides on a certain thing, and I think it made me sick. I think that's what it made me sick. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything more than that. I think it's important for the people at Babylon Talmud to know that if I'm right now going to be babbling for who knows how long it's going to take, it might take a little bit of time. It wasn't a super quick daf. I figured it's my responsibility to my audience that if I'm going to babble before you for the next bit of time, and I'm feeling shvach, so I should let the people know. I hope that I left it vague enough that I'm open it up. Said anybody, whatever your position is, it's your position. There was a certain position that I think made me physically ill. Alright. So I think I'm physically ill now. And then I don't usually get sick, but I think, I don't know, it did something to me. The past 2 months have been very stressful, and I've been fine for the most part. By the way, if you want me to give you some advice that's really been extremely helpful for me, check the news at the end of the day. I think this advice has saved my life. Mamish, it's saved my life. I wake up, it's only the third day, well, it's really only the second and a half day I'm doing it. I did it yesterday. It's right now 5:45 p.m. Have not looked at the news once today. I only look at the news right before I go to sleep. It's a little bit overwhelming because, there's so much news these days, but I got my life back. I feel like I reclaimed my life. I feel like the news ruined my life for 2 months. And it feels like I got my life back, but then I got physically sick. Okay, well, I don't want to waste your time. Let's go weiter. But yeah, maybe I should get water or something. I took ibuprofen probably about a half an hour ago or something. I think that's about how much time it takes. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, where are we? We're on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. The 2 dots, about 10 lines. About 10 lines into the daf, there's the 2 dots on Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. All right, remember, Chaver, Babylon Talmud is about passion. It's about passion. I need to find that passion and muster up that passion. So you have workers. The workers came to collect their payment, right? They deserve to get paid, so they go to the house of the employer to collect their payment. Okay, so where am I? And the ox of the employer's ox gored them to death, or his hund bit them to death, Vames, when they died, Potter, so the employer does not need to pay kofar, right? The ox or the dog needs to be put to death because it killed somebody, but the employer does not need to pay kofar. Acherim omrim rashayin payalin litvara scharin mibal abayis, and acherim say that workers are permitted to claim their wages from the employer, and therefore they had a right to be there. And therefore, if the ox of the employer killed these workers who were coming to collect their wages, so the employer would, in fact, have to pay kofar echidami. Now, what exactly is the context over here? Ida shchiach b'mata. If the employer is normally out and about, well, then my time with acherim. Then what were the workers doing at the employer's private residence to collect their wages? If he's always out and about, they could just find him when he's out and about and collect their wages when they see him out and about. Why did they have to come to his house? Why would the acherim say that they have the right to go? Bias, and if he's normally at home, and therefore, if they're going to come collect their wages, they're going to have to go to his house. Well, then my time to Tanakama. How come the Tanakama says that there would be no kofar? Well, they had a right to come collect their wages. They had a right to get paid. So, lo tzricha begavid shchiach v'lo shchiach v'kari above v'amlu in. Rather, it's talking about an employer who sometimes he's out and about, sometimes he's home, right? So, he's not necessarily the easiest person to track down. So they come to his house and they say, hey, employer guy, can we get paid? And he says, yes. Mar savar in ul ta mashma. So the acherim say that in means yes, come in, come in. And therefore they had a right to be there, and therefore the owner, the employer is chayiv to pay kofar. U'ma'asavar in kumaduchtech mashma, and the other the Tanakama says that in means yes, stay right there, I'm coming. And when they went inside on their own, so they shouldn't have done that, and therefore the employer does not need to pay. Kofar is not responsible for kofar. Tanya Commando Omer in kumaduchtech mashma, and there's a brisa supporting the opinion who says that in means stay right there. The Tanya is within a brisa poel shenichnos l'tvoya schar mibalabayis, a worker who comes to claim his wage from the balabayis, v'nogcho shorish balabayis, and the ox of the balabayis gores the worker, oneshachol kalbo, or his dog, his hund, bit the fellow to death, potter, the employer is potter, does not need to pay kofar, afal pi she nichnos birshus, even though the employee was allowed to be there. Amai potter, so if he was allowed to be there, then why is the employer potter from paying kofar? Elo lav dekari above it. Well, it must be a scenario where the employee, the worker, knocked on the door. Ve'omar lei in, and the employer says yes. Vishmamino in kumaduchtech mashma, and it's therefore teaching that yes means stay right there, I'm coming. So they should not have gone in, and when they did go in and they got killed, the employer is potter from paying kofar. Says the Mishnah, Shnei shvarin tamin shechavlu. So we have a new Mishnah. It says 2 short toms that damaged one another. Mishaman b'moser chatzinezek. So you figure out which one did more damage than the other, okay? And the one that did more damage will be responsible to pay the net difference. And because we're talking about short toms over here, so it's going to be chatzinezek of the net, okay? So if one shore sustained 50 shekels of damage, the other shore sustained 100 shekels of damage, so the one who sustained 100 shekels of damage netted therefore 50 shekels, half of that is 25 shekels, that's what it'll get. Shnein muadim. If both shores are shor muads, mishalmin b'moser nezek shalim. So in that case, we find the same thing. We find the difference, right? So again, if it's 50 shekels and 100 shekels, so the net is 50. But in this case, because it's shor muad, so there's no chatzi nezek, it's nezek shalim. So the one who did more damage would pay the full net difference. Echad tam ve'echad muad. If one of the oxes was a shor tam, the other one was a shor muad. So muad betam, if the one that caused more damage was the shor muad, mishalim b'moser nezek shalim, so then he will pay the complete net difference. Tam b'muad, if the one who did more damage was the shor tam, well then mishalim b'moser chatzi nezek, he'll pay half of the net difference. V'chein, and similarly, shnei anoshim, two individuals, shechavlu ze boze, that they damaged one another, mishalim b'moser nezek shalim, right? Adam muad le'olam, right? A person, there's no chatzi nezek by Adam, and therefore you figure out who did more damage, and then the one who did more damage is going to pay the entire net difference. Adam b'muad umuad be'adam. If a fellow damages a shor hamuad, or a muad damages a fellow, so mishalim b'moser nezek shalim. So whoever did more damage is going to be responsible to pay for the entire net difference, right? Because both are muads, shor muad and adam. Adam b'tam, v'tam b'adam. If a fellow damages a shor tam, or a shor tam damages an adam, so adam b'tam, if the adam who's a muad does more damage than the tam, so mishalim b'moser nezek shalim, so he'll pay the entire net difference. Tam ba'adam, if the shor tam did more damage, well then mishalim b'moser chatzi nezek, so he'll pay half of the net difference. Rabbi Akiva Omer, says Rabbi Akiva, af tam shechava ba'adam, mishalim b'moser nezek shalim. Says Rabbi Akiva that if a shor tam damages a fellow, so then he would pay the entire net, not half the net. Oh my gosh. Alright. Oh, I'm like really achy. Oh my gosh. Alright. There's another factor. I also haven't been sleeping much. I'm like 5 hours. Oy vavoy. Okay. Whew. Let's go weiter. Chaver. We do it every day, Chaver. We do it every day. Babylon Talmud is a daily thing. It's a daily thing. Even when you're sick. Maybe it'll even make me feel better. Let's go weiter. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. So says the Gemara, Kamishpat hazeh yaiselo, that he should do like this judgment. Kamishpat shor b'shor, kach mishpat shor ba'adam. Okay, what does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, Obei nigach, obasi gach. If a shor gores a person be'etzim, kamishpat hazeh yaiselo, you have to do like this. Now the psukim before this first was talking about a shor tam, and then it was talking about a shor muad. Okay, and we're saying kamishpat hazeh yaiselo, kamishpat shor b'shor, kach mishpat shor ba'adam. Okay, that prior to this pasuk, we were talking about oxen. So the same halachas that apply to oxen apply to when a ox scores a person. Ma shor b'shor tam mishalim chatzi nezek umud nezek shalim. So just like when an ox nards another ox, so if it's a shor tam, it's chatzi nezek. If it's a shor mud, it's nezek shalim. So af shor ba'adam. So also when an ox scores a person, tam mishalim chatzi nezek umud nezek shalim. So also a ox that gores a person, so if the ox is a shor tam, it'll be chatzi nezek. If it's a shor mud, so it'll be nezek shalim. Rabbi Akiva Omer says, Rabbi Akiva, kamishpat hazeh. No, it's kamishpat hazeh katachton v'lo ke'elyon. Right, as I mentioned a minute ago, the psukim before this pasuk that talks about a shor goring a person, the psukim before then are talking about the one right before that is talking about, or closest to it is talking about a shor muad. The one before that is talking about a shor tam. So therefore, Rabbi Kiva wants to say, Kamishpat hazeh, like this rule, meaning the previous rule, the shor muad, that we treat a shor that gores a person like always we treat it like a shor muad, regardless of if it had gored before or not. So Yachol Yishalim and Aliyah. So if we're treating the shor that gores a person like a shor muad, well, a shor muad is Mishalim and Aliyah, even more than the value of the ox itself. Tamalomar Yaise Lo. It says Kamishpat hazeh Yaise Lo. It Migufo Mishalim from. No, you only pay up to the value of the ox v'inu Mishalim and Aliyah, not more than that. So therefore, it says Rabbi Kiva, if a shor gores a person, so the owner of the shor is going to be always responsible for the entire damages of the person, but only up to the value of the shor. So if the shor is more expensive than the value of the person, so it'll pay the entire value of the person, but of the damage. If the shor is less, so then it'll only pay up to the value of the shor. Oh my gosh. Rabbanon and the rabbis, hazeh lo. So what do they do with hazeh? Right? Rabbi Kiva learned from hazeh that like shor muad, right? The most recent, right? The pasuk that was closest to it, shor muad. So what do the rabbis do with hazeh? So lifotro me'arba dvarim, to exclude a shor that gored a person from the 4 dvarim, right? Of course, we know that a person who damages a person, so he's responsible in addition to nezek, tsar, ripoy, sheves, and boshes. So we're saying hazeh. We're saying that that it excludes shor from the paying the 4 additional things. How does Rabbi Kiva know that that in this case the owner of the shor does not need to pay the additional 4 things? When a fellow causes damage to his fellow, then there's the 4 things. But ish ba'amito v'lo shor ba'amito. Only if a fellow causes damage, not if an ox causes the damage. V'rabonon, and the rabbis say, look, if we'd only have that pasuk, hava amino tsar l'chude. I would think that ish ba'amito only excludes tsar, where the person doesn't actually lose any money, right? So, right, one of these 4 additional payments when a person damages another person is the pain. Now, the person doesn't lose money because of pain, right? Meaning nezek is the decrease of his actual, self-value, if you're sold as like an Evan. And then there's hospital bills, the fact that he can't work, right? But tsar is actually, but tsar, it's he didn't lose any money. We pay him for the pain that he endured, but because he didn't lose money, I might think that ish ba'amito would only exclude tsar, but the other ones would still be relevant to a shor. So, right, aval ripoy v'sheves ema litein le kamash mulan. So therefore, we have the pasuk also of hazeh to exclude all of these 4 payments when it comes to a shor. That when it comes to a shor, it's only nezek, but not these other 4 things. Okay, fine. Now, says the Mishnah, shor shave mono shenogach shor shave mosayim ve'ena nevela yofe klum noteles ashor. You hear this? If you have a so this is talking about a shor tam. So we're talking about chatzi nezek. So sort of the most basic, easiest scenario would be you have a shor that's worth 100 zuz. It gores to death a shor that was worth 200 zuz. The carcass is worth 0 zuz, which means that the damage, that the loss to the nizak is 200 zuz. Chatzi nezek is 100 zuz. The damaging ox is 100 zuz. Just give the ox to the nizak. That's about the cleanest scenario that we could possibly generate. Also, another factor might be that it's getting cold over here as well, and I haven't put on the heat yet. Really, I think it's like a bunch of factors that are all kind of mixing together. What happened to that ibuprofen? I took an ibuprofen. I think it should have had enough time to kick in. I don't know. But then again, I'm also, I guess, exerting myself. Okay, let's go weiter. Where am I? So says the Gemara, gewaltig. Masnisin money, Rabbi Kiva. So our Mishnah is Rabbi Kiva. What about Rabbi? No, tell me more. The Tanya, we learn in the Brisa. Yusham Ashor bebezdin divra bishma. Rabbi Kiva Omer Huchlat Ashor. Oh, so when you have this shore that causes damage, so Rabbi Yishmael's opinion is that, well, you take the ox to court, you evaluate how much it's worth, and based on the valuation, you pay money to the nizak, right? You don't actually give, right? Our Mishnah, we had said that, well, let the nizak just take the mazik's shore, right? Rabbi Kiva would say no. The nizak doesn't. I'm sorry, Rabbi Yishmael would say no. The nizak doesn't just take the mazik's shore. You get money. At the end of the day, the nizak is not getting the mazik's shore. He's getting 100 shekels, 100 zuz. Fine. But Rabbi Kiva says that no, you actually give the shore to the nizak. So we want to say that the Mishnah, therefore, that you just give the shore to the nizak is Rabbi Kiva. Says the Gemara, masnisa money. Oh, maybe the ibuprofen's starting to kick in. That would be nice. Masnisa money, Rabbi Kiva. The Mishnah is Rabbi Kiva. The Tanya that we learn in the Brisa, Yusham Ashor bebezdin to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says, ooh, the ibuprofen might be kicking in. Ooh, this is great. Does ibuprofen work like that? Like it's just like it's not working and then the next thing you know, it's working? Wow. Oh, this is great. Oh, that reminds me. Did I tell you this? The button on my pants popped off yesterday. Probably related to the pecan pie, let's be honest. But my mom sewed back on the button. My mom's here. She sewed back on the button to my hoisin. It's like these pants got a whole new lease on life. So I have a lot of things to be grateful for my brand new old pants. Mom, if my mom wasn't here, these pants would be unusable until who even knows. I mean, once a pair of pants is only as good as the button that keeps them closed. Once that button's gone, the pants are useless. And thankful for ibuprofen. Let's hope that it works. Let's hope that it works. Where am I? Let's hope that it works. So Rabbi Shmuel's opinion was that you I hope the ibuprofen worked. So Rabbi Shmuel's opinion is that you evaluate the value of the ox and then you give money to the nizak. Rabbi Kiva says you pasha give the ox to the nizak. Okay, so it says the Mishnah, it says the Gemara, Masnisin money. Who's our Mishnah? Rabbi Kiva. So Rabbi Kiva, the Tanya that we learned about, so Yusham Ashor bebezdin. You evaluate the value of the ox in bezdin, and you give the money to the nizak. Div Rabbi Shmuel, that's Rabbi Shmuel's opinion. Rabbi Kiva almost says Rabbi Kiva, Huchlat Ashor, that the shore itself goes to the nizak. What exactly is the machloikis? Rabbi Shmuel Savar says Rabbi Shmuel, Bal Chov Hu, well, the nizak is be'etzim a creditor. The nizak is be'etzim a creditor. He's owed money. V'zuzei u'demasik lei. And he's owed money. Right? The mazik caused damage to the nizak is owed money. He doesn't necessarily get the ox of the mazik, but he gets paid back for his financial loss. With money. Rabbi Kiva Savar, Rabbi Kiva says, Shutvei ninu. No, that the mazik and the nizak now become partners in the mazik, in the shor mazik. So when the mazik's shor killed the nizak's shor, the mazik and the nizak now become partners in that shor. And if I understand correctly, basically, they have shares in the shor mazik relative to how much, the value of the shor mazik and how much his damages are owed. So in this case, the nizak is owed 100 zuz. The shore is is worth 100 zuz. So be'etzem, the nizak's ownership stake in that shore is 100%, and he just push it. So the shore is his now. And Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Kiva argue on the following verse: that they sell the live, right, the shor mazik, the live ox, and they split the money. Rabbi Shmuel says that the pasuk is talking to the bezdin, that the bezdin sells the ox and gives the money to split up accordingly between the mazik and the nizak. Rabbi Kiva says the nizak umazik Muzar Lu Rachmana, Mizar Lu Rachmana. Rabbi Akiva says no. The pasuk is talking about the mazik and the nizak, and that they become partners and they split the ox relative to how much they're owed. My benai, what's the nafkamina between if you say, what's the nafkamina between if you say that the money goes, I don't know how much Avi Pilfim worked. What's the nafkamina between if you say that the money goes to the nizak versus if the ox goes to the nizak? So my benai, ekdisha nizak ikbenayu. The nafkamina is, what if the nizak was makdish the ox, right? The shaila is, does he own it or not, right? If you're like Rabbi Akiva, well then he, where am I? Yeah, exactly. So if you're Rabbi Akiva, that says that, well, the ox goes to the nizak, so the nizak can be makdish it. If you're Rabbi Shmuel, says no, the mazik still owns the ox, he just gives money to the nizak, well then the nizak cannot be makdish the shora mazik. But minei Rav Nachman. Rav asks Rav Nachman, machro mazik, if the mazik sells his ox, right? So his ox, killed Shimon's ox, killed the nizak's ox, and then the mazik now sells his ox. So the Rabbi Shmuel Ma'u, what's the halacha according to Rabbi Shmuel? Kevin dam Rabbi Shmuel bal chov hu v'zuzei hu demasik le machor. On the one hand, do we say that, well, according to Rabbi Shmuel, the mazik just needs to give the nizak money. He doesn't actually give him the ox. So whatever the mazik wants to do with the ox, he can. So it's sold. He can do whatever he wants with the ox. Just make sure that he pays, you just to make sure, of course, to pay the nizak, the money that the nizak is owed. Odilma, or perhaps I can argue the opposite. Kevan de mishaybid le nizak lav kol kmine. Alternatively, since ultimately, look, the mazik needs to pay the nizak according to Rabbi Shmuel. If he doesn't have the money, the nizak's going to come and take the ox. So therefore, since the ox is meshubad to the nizak be'etzim, the mazik has no business selling the ox. Right? So again, came in the mishabed le nizak, since the ox is meshubad to the nizak, lav kol kmine, the mazik can't just sell the ox. Omar le. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever vomited on Babylon Talmud. That would be a first. Where would I even do that? I don't know. Maybe into the laundry basket. Oh, sorry that you're looking at my laundry. Okay. Where am I? Okay, so that's the shaila. Amalei eino macher. So Rav Nachman says that the mazik cannot sell the shora mazik. V'atanya macher macher. But we have a brayso that says that if he sells it, it's sold. So yeah, in a chinami, if the mazik sells it, it's sold, but the nizak can then just go to the person who purchased it and just take it away from him. Well, if the nizak can just go and take it away from the person who bought it, then what do you mean that it's sold? That's not much of a sale. Livridio. Well, the difference is that if the person who bought it in the meantime plowed his field with it, okay, so he managed to get some value with it. In the meantime, he doesn't owe that to the nizak. Shmamina lava umocher metatlin bezdin govin lo meim. But one second, does this imply possibly that metatlin are meshubah to alone? Of course, we've always assumed that that karka property is meshubah to a loan, right? That if somebody borrows money, and he could be mishabed property to the loan, that if he doesn't pay it back, property can be taken. But that doesn't apply to metaltalin. So over here, we're saying that the ox is mishubad to the nizak, and if the mazik sells it, the nizak can take it away. So ask the Gemara again, Shmamina, does this imply that lava umocher metaltalin, that if a person borrows money and then sells metaltalin bezdin govin lo mehem, that bezdin can collect from metaltalin that were sold? No. In general, bezdin cannot collect from metaltalin that were sold. Metaltalin are not meshubah to alone. However, shiny awesome dechiman daso aputiki dami. It is different, however, in I hope I'm not making noise by moving around, because I have my noise canceling headphones now, so I actually don't hear much, and it's really great, because there were people making a ton of noise outside, and I almost don't hear them, which is great, but I might actually be making noise walking around over here. But I'm moving around because I'm like not feeling great, and it just helps me to be moving. Anyways, so we say that even though in general metaltalin are not meshubah alone, in this case, the nizak can collect the shore because it's like an aputiki, right? It's like that. It's like that. The shore amazik was like designated as kind of payment to the nizak if he doesn't pay him. But v'amar Rave also avdoi aputiki u'mecharu bezdin gove menu shoru aputiki u'mecharu ein bezdin gove menu. We've seen this before, that if a person borrows money and says, you know what, my eved is going to be meshubah to this loan, if I don't pay you back, you could have my eved, so that's valid. If he says the same thing about his ox, it's invalid. So why are we saying here that the ox is becoming an aputiki, is becoming a collateral? Or is meshubah to the loan, meshubah to the nizak? So Emfet the Gemara, Eved my taima. How come an Eved could be meshubah to a loan? The Islay Kala, because people hear about it, right? That when it comes to an Eved, if Reuven borrows money from Shimon and designates his Eved as an aputiki, right, as meshubah to the loan. So the yentis in the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon with the low-fat mandel bread and Diet Coke, they hear about it. Everybody hears about, Reuven's Eved, meshubah to a loan, he took from Shimon, juicy stuff. So that's why an Eved is a valid aputiki, not as exciting if we're just talking about an ox. The yentis in the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon have more pressing things to talk about. So Eved my time, Mishum Kala. Ahai Nami, and similarly in this particular case, by a shore mazik. So Kevan denogach, since he gored Kala Islay the Torah Nagchanu Karule. People know about it. People know, right? This is a dangerous ox. Stay away, right? Somebody gets, an ox gets killed by this shore. The people, for their own safety, kind of know about it, and therefore, because it's kind of public knowledge that this ox gored, and it makes sense that it would be meshubah to the nizak. That's why in this particular case, the ox is meshubah to the nizak. Fine, but in general, an ox would not be meshubah to the nizak because it's just not interesting enough. Okay, fine. And as we know, of course, if something isn't interesting enough, people don't care about it. Okay, but people do get obsessed about things that should be less interesting. Okay, let's go weiter. Tani Rav Tachlifa bar Mayrava. Rav Tachlifa bar Mayrava taught Kameda Babo. Oy vavoy. Tani Rav Tachlifa bar Mayrava Kameda Babo. So Rav Tachlifa bar Mayrava taught before Babo. Machro eno machor. So I guess he taught a brisa before Babo. Machro eno machor. We're going to have to figure out who's selling what, but if he sells it, it is not sold. Hekdisho muktosh, but if he's makdish it, it's muktosh. So what's going on over here? Machorman, who's selling this ox? Ilema mazik. So if we're saying, well, the mazik is selling the ox, and we're saying machor eno machor, he's not allowed to sell it. Mani Rabbi Akiva. Well, that sounds like Rabbi Akiva, who says that the ox belongs to the nizak. Tamar huchlat hashor. That Rabbi Akiva says that the shore belongs to the nizak, not the mazik. So therefore, the mazik he can't sell it. V'ekdesho muktosh, but at the same time, we're saying that if he's makdish it, it is muktosh, which means that it's his. So son Rabbi Yishmael, that sounds like Rabbi Yishmael. The Amar Yusham Ashor Bezdin, that you evaluate the ox and give the money to the nizak. but the shore still belongs to the mazik, and he can be makdish it. So what's going on? Machro Eino Machor sounds like Rabbi Kiva. Hekdesho Mukdash sounds like Rabbi Shmuel. Oof. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's a lot of koiches. I mamish need water, but I don't have water down here. Let's go weiter. Ela nizak rather than nizak. Okay, so machro eino machor. So if we say that he sells it, it's not sold. He has no right to sell it. Money Rabbi Shmuel. That's like Rabbi Shmuel, who says that it doesn't belong to him. What? Right, the nizak. Oh my brain is stopping to work. But not totally. I can get back into it. But we have a 2 dots coming up. At that 2 dots, I'll probably take a breather. Nizak machro. Okay, so we're talking about the nizak, right? So machro eino machro. If we say that if he sells it, it is not sold. Money Rabbi Shmuel. So that sounds like Rabbi Shmuel says that the ox remains the property of the mazik, not the nizak. He just pays money to the nizak. Hekdisha mukdash. And if he's makdish it, then it's mukdash. Well, then that sounds like Rabbi Akiva, who says that it belongs to the nizak. So Rabbi Akiva. So l'olam mazik. Okay, so really we're talking about the mazik. Okay. Now, we said that machro eino machor. So, everyone says that if he sells it, it is not sold. Certainly like Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva says it doesn't belong to him, it goes to the nizak. But I feel Rabbi Shmuel. Even according to Rabbi Shmuel, do mishaib de leila nizak. Right, as we said, that the shore ultimately is meshuba to the nizak, and the nizak can just take it from whoever purchased it. So it's not really sold. Hekdesho mukdash. And if he's makdish it, it is mukdash. So certainly according to Rabbi Shmuel, the mazik can be makdish it because it belongs to him. He just needs to pay money. But I feel Rabbi Akiva, even according to Rabbi Akiva, who says that the shore goes to the nizak, nonetheless, if the mazik is makdish it, it's mukdash. Why? Mishum de Rababo. Like Rababo, the Amr Rababo says Rababo, Gezer Shema Yomu Hekdesh Yotze Below Pigeon. That it's just Pasha to Gezer, right? Meaning, Rabbi would say that in this case, even though the shore belongs to the nizak, but if the mazik is makdish, we would say at least just, so that nobody should be mistaken and think that if you're makdish something, you could still, you don't need to be poded, you don't need to treat it like hekdesh. So just to avoid any outcomes that we don't want. So we say, treat it as hekdesh and be poded for a nominal amount, just at least so that it should have the optics that it was actually hekdesh and nobody should make any mistakes. Alright, Chevra, final stretch. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbi starts. Short tam. Okay, so if you have a short tam, shehizik, that caused damage, okay, fine. Achlo amad bedin, but they didn't yet go to Bezdin. To kind of, finalize things. Machro, if the mazik sells it, machar, it's sold. Hekdesho, if he's makdish it, mukdash, it's hekdesh. Shachato, v'nostav matana, if he slaughtered the short tam, or if he gave it as a gift, masha also, whatever he did is done. So it sounds like prior to the din, he can base it, the mazik can do whatever he wants with his shore. But once they already went to Bezdin, and they kind of, sorted out all the details there with the short tam and the chatzinezek. Machro eno machor, if he sells it, it is not sold. Hekdesho. Interesting. I just thought of another reason maybe why I'm sick. So many reasons. Mishamar bedin, machro eno machor. But once he went to Bezdin, so then if he sells it, it's not sold. Hekdesho, if he's makdish it, eino mukdash. It's not mukdash. Shachatov and Ostov Matana, if he slaughtered the shore, or if he gave it as a gift, loss of loklum, it's garnished, it's nothing. Shelo Hazik. Where am I? Did I skip? Yes. Fine. Where am I again? Okay, fine. That's after they went to Bezin. Kadmu Bale Chovis. Now, what if he also owed money? What if the mazik owed money? and the creditors came, vigbiu, and they took the shore. Bain chav ad shelo hizik, whether the loan took place before the shore damaged, bain shehizik ad shelo chav, or whether whether the damage happened first and only later came the loan. Either way, lo asuf lo klum, they cannot take this shor mazik. L'fishein mishtalim ela migufo, because the shor tam pays migufo, from its body, and therefore the body is a crucial part of the payment of the nizak, and therefore the shor mazik must remain intact to be able to pay from. Muad she'ezik. So now for shor muad damages, now shor muad, of course, is mishalim min aliyah. It's not paid only from the value of the shor. It's paid whatever the value is. Whatever the value of the damages. Bein sha'amad bedin, so therefore, whether they already went to Bezdin, bein sha'amad bedin, whether they had not yet gone to Bezdin, it makes no difference. Machro, if you sold it, it's sold. Ekdeisho, mukdash. Shachato, v'noslav matana, if you slaughter it or you gave it as a gift, masha'asa asu, whatever you did is done. Kadmu, balei chovis, if creditors came and took the shor mazik, vigbio, and they took it, bein chov ad shelo hizik, whether the loan preceded the damage, bein hizik ad shelo chov, or whether the ox first damaged and he only then later on took out a loan, masha'asa asui, the creditors, whatever they took, and it's fine. The fisha in mishtalim elemin aliyah, since ashore hamazik only pays min aliyah, not migufo, and therefore the actual physical body of the ox is not relevant here. Okay. Amamai, we said machro, right? If ashore tam prior to going to Bezdin, the mazik sold it, so it's sold. So that means only liridya. Right, meaning it's sold, but as we said earlier, the nizak can still collect it. The nizak can still collect it from the buyer, and it's only sold to the extent that if the buyer had plowed the field in the meantime, so that's fine. He doesn't need to the nizak cannot collect that value of the plowing. Hekdeisho mukdash. If the mazik is makdish, so it's hekdish. So mishum de Rababo. It's only like Rababo had said that. Just so that people don't get the wrong idea, but it isn't actually hektish. Shachato v'nosnu b'matana, if he slaughtered the animal or the ox, or he gave it as a gift, masha asa asui, that which he did is done. Bishlam v'nosnu b'matana masha asa asui. I understand that if he gives it as a gift, whatever he's done is done. Liridya, in terms of plowing, he gives it as a gift to somebody, so the nizak can come and take it back. But whatever, if in the meantime the recipient of the gift plowed his field with it, so okay, he can still benefit from that value. the buyer, the recipient of the gift. Ela shochato, but what I don't understand is that what does it mean that if he slaughtered it, that which he did is done? What do you mean that which he did is done? Leisi v'l'shtalim ibisari. Let the nizak should still at least be able to get paid back from the value of the meat. The Tanya, that when the Brisa Chai, that when the pasuk says, right, umachur is ashur achai v'chatzu es kaspo. So in the elachai, all I know that these halachos apply to a live shore. Shachato minayin. I don't know that even if you slaughter it, still it can be paid from the carcass. Tamulomer umachur is ashur mikol makom, that they sell the shore in whatever state it's in, even if it's already been slaughtered. So again, what does it mean? Masha asa asui. That right, the nizak could still be paid from the carcass. So Amar Rav Sheizvi says Rav Sheizvi lo nitzcha el lepachas shchita. It's talking about the decrease in value of the shchita, meaning when it was alive, it was worth a certain amount of money. And then when it was slaughtered, it's now worth less. And we're saying that masha asu asui. Okay, well, if we're talking about a short time, and it's only being mishalim migufo, and now the goof is worth less because it was slaughtered, it's no longer alive. Well, okay, masha asa asui. Well, I guess there's less to collect from. So this seems to be saying that a mazik shibudo shechaveru potter, that if somebody damages that a shibud that he has to his friend, he's potter, right? Meaning in this case we're saying that the mazik owed the ox to the nizak, right? The ox was meshubah to the nizak. The mazik then went and slaughtered and basically damaged that which was meshubah to the nizak, and yet he's getting away with it. We say, okay, so just get paid back from the carcass rather than the live animal, and he gets away with it. Pshita, yeah, that's obvious. Yes, thank you. Isn't that obvious? That does seem to be what we're saying. Why do I need Rav Huna Bar Yeshua to add that statement? Like, what does it add? So Ma'adatim, I may have thought Hasam who de'amarle lechasaitich v'lomidi de'amarle zika ba'alma who deshakli mina. Well, I'd mean to say, look, specifically in the case of slaughtering an animal, the mazik can make the argument, well, look, the reason why, or we could make the argument that the reason in that case, Masha also is because the mazik can make the following argument, like, look, I didn't technically change the animal at all. Like, the animal's still there, right? Like, all the meat, all the body parts, everything is still there, the organs, everything is still there. The only difference is that before it had life in it. Now it doesn't have life. What's life? Life isn't tangible. On a physical level, nothing changed. Leave me alone. So maybe that's why in that case, the mazik can get away with it. But in general, I might make the argument that you can't just damage stuff that you have a shibud to. Like, you can, as we're going to see in a second, you can't just cause damage to a field that's meshubah to alone. So, okay, fine. So, Hanami Rabba. So this is super interesting. The Gemara says, yeah, but, still, we have another statement of Rabba, and Rashi points out something insanely incredible. The Rashi says, Ochi Garsina, in about 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that, lines from the bottom of Rashi on Lam Gimel Amud Beis. Hanami Rabba Amar da Amar Rabba Adam Choshuv Hoya. Friends, this is incredible. Rabba was a very important person. Adam Choshuv, and from an Adam Choshuv could go in Rav. For example, Rav, oh Rabba, this is insane. This is better than ibuprofen. Parchinon ki'ilu kosov b'mishno b'praisa. Is your mind blown, Chevra? Look, I'm not feeling well, and even my mind is blown. Of course, we've seen before Rav Tanahu Polik, right? Rav was a student of Rebbe. He was right at the cusp. He's a Tana, he can argue on. We say, even Rav is really the first time word, but sometimes we'll say Rav Tanahu Polik. Rav can argue on a brisa. This is jumping 2 generations. Rabba was a student of Rav Yehuda, who was a student of Rav. And we're saying that even somebody like Rabba can say something with the authenticity of a brisa. Sorry, I had to stretch. Isn't that mind-blowing? So basically, Gemara's kasha is, okay, so we have the situation of the ox, okay, and he slaughters the ox, and we say, whatever, he can get away with it. And then Rav Huna Bar Yeshua to say it's not just there, but it's in other cases as well. But one second, Rabba, who has apparently the sort of stature of a brisa, also says a similar thing. So again, why between the shechting of the shortam and the statement that we're about to read from Rabba, again, why do we need Rav Huna Bar Yeshua? Anami Rabba Rabba says Rabba Asoif Shtarosov Shel Chaveru. If somebody burns, right, the documents that belong to somebody else, so that's right. These documents, we're saying that this person's owed money. It's a shibud, and he burns that potter. So we see also that you can get away with burning the shibud of your friend. I may have thought also that but there also you could just say Niyar Ba'alma Kaloi Minach. Look, I'm just burning random bits of paper. But where a person goes to property, real estate, right there, right? That's Meshuba to alone, and he digs into it and makes it and damages it. So I think in that case he'd be chayv kamash malon. That no, he's so kamash malon, he's potter Because when it comes to slaughtering this ox, for example, it's like similar to digging and excavating into a field, because you're slaughtering an animal. Similar to like digging a field. You're making it. You're like physically affecting the object. So therefore, we say you're potter also by like fields. Fine. Woo. Where am I? Fine. Become masha also, and we're saying that which we did is done. Kadmu by lechovis vigbiu. If the creditors came and took the ox, bein chov ad shelo hizik, whether the loan was prior to the damage, bein hizik ad shelo chov, whether the damage was prior to the loan, lo osef lo klum, they may not take the ox, the fee, she'ein mishalim ela migufo, because short time is paid migufo, so they have to leave it for the nizak. They can't take it. So I understand if the damage preceded the loan, so nizakin kodmu. So the damage was prior to this loan. They have no business taking this ox. Aval chav ad shelo hizik. But if the loan preceded the damage, bal chov kodim. So I mean the loan came first, right? The creditor should have the first rights, the first dibs. And even in the scenario where it damaged first, prior to the loan, but nonetheless, Baal Chov Kodim. If the creditor came first, even though he loaned after the damage, but he came first and grabbed the ox and took it for himself, so he came first, right? So I would think that, okay, came to Tafas. Once he took it, it should be his. Shmamina, are we going to imply from here that Baal Chov Mu'ucher Shekadim V'Gava Mashagava Lo Gava? Is this to imply that if a later creditor comes and collects prior to an earlier creditor, then he can't keep it? Because that's a shaila. Can he keep it or not? So is this to imply that he can't keep it? So his answer is the Gemara, no, really I'll tell to you, that which he took. Okay, if a later Baal Chov comes and takes, he takes. Vishani also mentions different in this particular case. The Amalek, because the Nizak says, look, ilu gabach hava lo minoch hava gabile the high Torah the azkon mine mishtalamna. The Nizak says, look, I don't care who is physically in possession of the shore right now. The fact of the matter is, it's not on the person who owns it, it's on the ox itself. This ox gored my ox and killed my ox. I have a right to take this ox. I don't care who owns it. It's my ox. This ox gored. I don't care if you own it. I don't care if anybody else owns it. This is an ox that gored. I'm entitled to it. I'm going to drink some water. Peace out.